Take a moment to find a position that feels really comfortable for you. You might be seated or you might be laying down. You can choose to sit on the floor or on some piece of furniture if that's more comfortable for you. And in order to allow ourselves to settle completely, let's take a moment to become aware of the supports beneath our bodies. Noticing each place where the body touches down on the ground or on some other kind of support. And allowing yourself to get a little bit heavier at each one of those points of contact. At each and every place where the body touches down on some kind of support, really letting yourself get heavier, allowing yourself to settle into that support beneath you. And consciously acknowledging that that support's there, allowing your muscles and your joints to soften and release, allowing the ground or whatever props you're on to take your weight. We'll scan through the body and notice any areas where you feel a sense of holding on or feeling of tension or tightness, starting at the top of the head and working our way down. Maybe closing your eyes, letting your eyelids rest downwards if you don't want them all the way closed. And softening the muscles of the face, releasing the jaw, and letting the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. Releasing the shoulders down, letting the shoulders draw together on the mat. And ensure the hands are resting somewhere that they feel supported so that the arms can hang heavy. No need to hold on. And in the same way, tuning into whatever's supporting your hips and your lower legs. And then consciously softening and releasing any tightness from the muscles. And then once you feel completely settled, grounded on your mat, we'll start to bring some awareness to our breathing, noticing how your body feels as you inhale and how it feels as you exhale. Noticing where the body moves as you breathe. And again, noticing any sensations that come with that breath. As you inhale and exhale, what do you feel in your body? And if you do notice that your breathing is a bit shallow or short, maybe let your next inhale move a little deeper into your body. Imagine that air traveling all the way down the length of the spine. And then as you exhale, move it all the way back up the length of the spine. With each inhale, filling up the lungs, letting the rib cage expand and letting the belly rise. And And then with each exhale, letting the belly soften. And as the lungs empty, the ribs knit back together. Breathing in, creating space. And breathing out, finding some softness. And continuing with that same slow, steady rhythm of breath, we'll start to bring a little bit of movement back into the body, gently wiggling fingers and wiggling toes. If it's available to you, circling wrists and ankles, and maybe turning the head from side to side. Bringing it back to stillness. And if you are laying on your back, staying where you are. If you're sitting up, coming all the way down onto your back on the mat, taking your time. And once you reach the ground, drawing your knees in towards your chest, wrapping hands either around shins or hamstrings, and then gently rocking side to side, massaging the low back. Noticing the feeling of your weight transferring as you shift from side to side. Maybe drawing your knees in towards your torso, massaging the front of the body with the legs. And then from here, let's release the arms out into a T shape so the hands are in line with the shoulders on the floor. We'll gently shift the knees all the way over to the left, letting them come down onto the ground, allowing the right shoulder to stay connected with the mat, and allowing the knees to drop towards one another and towards the ground. If it's really uncomfortable to have your right shoulder all the way planted, you can let your knees come all the way down and then fold your right arm across the front of your body, letting that right shoulder lift. And then instead of working your knees towards the floor, you'll gradually work your shoulder towards the floor. And you can either look straight up or you can look over your right shoulder towards the right side. And take a couple of slow, deep breaths here. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose if that's available. And letting each inhale fill the body up. And find some softness with each exhale. When you're ready, taking a nice deep breath in, and on the exhale, draw those knees all the way back up through center. And we'll switch sides, dropping them down on the right side of the mat, letting them be heavy, allowing the left shoulder to anchor down, and maybe looking over towards the left side of the room. Once again, as you inhale, feel your ribcage expand. Maybe you almost feel that left leg want to lift out of the twist a little bit. Let that happen. And then on your exhale, let yourself soften in. Reminder that if it is really uncomfortable to have your left shoulder down, you can always bring that left arm across the front of the body and then work backwards, drawing that shoulder gradually down towards the mat. And if your left arm is extended, you can look out towards your left fingertips if that feels comfortable on your neck. And let's take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, bring those knees all the way back up to center. We'll place the feet down onto the ground about hip distance apart. Let the heels be underneath of the knees, and draw those heels back as close to the hips as you comfortably can. Let's draw the shoulders down the back and tuck the chin in slightly. We'll reach the fingertips down towards the heels with the palms facing down, touching the floor. Let's take a nice deep breath in, press into the feet, press into the hands, and then exhale, lift the hips. It doesn't have to be very far for our first bridge of the morning. In fact, it probably won't be very far for the first bridge. What we're trying to do here is just get a little bit more activity through the muscles of the legs. Start to wake up the legs, maybe feeling some muscles turning on the tops of the thighs or the hamstrings, maybe through the glutes. And we'll keep that breath flowing smooth and steady. Really focus on the breath here. Draw it in through the nose all the way down the length of the spine. Feel your belly rise. And then release it back out the other direction. Good, let's release. We'll come all the way back down. From here, let's roll onto the right side of the body. You can use the lower arm as a pillow, or you can prop yourself up on your elbow. The lower leg can be extended straight out, or it can be bent a little bit. And we're going to focus on the left leg here. Let's reach down for our left ankle, and we'll draw our left knee towards, towards the right foot, pressing that left hip forward and coming into sort of like a side laying dancer pose. So we're drawing our heel back towards the glutes, keeping that left knee pointing straight down, straight away from the head, and pressing the left hip forward. Be gentle with yourself here. It is, again, early in the morning, probably haven't done too much movement just yet. So you want to find just a gentle stretch across the front of that left hip. Now, my leg is floating. That's just because of the shape of my hips and where my legs meet that hip socket. If it's more comfortable to have your legs stacked and down on the floor, you can do that too. We just don't want to go wider than hip distance apart. Taking one or two more slow, deep breaths here. And then we'll release and we'll switch. We'll roll all the way back over and onto the left side. So again, you can use your left bicep as a pillow, or you can bend your elbow and stack your head on your hand. The left leg can be pretty straight, or it can be bent a little bit. It doesn't really matter. And then we'll bend the right knee and reach back for the right ankle with the right hand. So here again, we want to make sure the knees don't move wider than hip distance apart. Want to draw the right heel back towards the right hip and then start to press that right hip forward. Just gently, looking for a little bit of a stretch along the front of the right hip. Let your shoulders stay relaxed. Let your jaw stay relaxed. And breathe into the front of that right hip. Good, let's release. And we'll come all the way back onto our backs. From here, let's plant the heels on the ground again as close to the hips as you can comfortably get them. Knees are about hip distance apart. Let's reach those fingertips down towards the heels, palms facing down. Take a nice deep breath in, and then as we exhale, press into the heels, press into the hands, and lift the hips. Again, this time doesn't have to be very far, but you might notice already that you're able to go a little bit further than you did on the first try. And again, here we're just looking for a little bit of muscular activation. So looking for a sensation through the glutes, through the lower legs, through the tops of the quads. If you're not feeling that yet, a good trick to try is to imagine, without actually moving them, that you're drawing your feet back closer to your head. So it's like you're digging your heels in a little bit deeper and drawing them back towards your upper body. Keep that breath flowing smooth and steady. Full inhales, full exhales. And then we'll lower the hips all the way back down. Let's cross the right ankle over top of the left thigh. We'll flex the right ankle, press the right knee away from the body. And looking here for a little bit of a stretch along the outer right hip. If you're already feeling it, you can stay right there. If you don't feel it just yet, lift that left foot off the ground. Thread the right hand in between the legs and wrap both hands around the back of the left hamstring. Pausing wherever you are and working the right knee away from the body. Allow the upper body to stay heavy, shoulders heavy on the mat, back of the head heavy on the mat. And then let's release. We'll place that left foot back down, right foot beside it. And we'll switch sides, crossing the left ankle over the right thigh, flexing at the ankle, pressing the left knee away from the body. Checking in here, noticing maybe if this is where you want to stay, if you're already feeling a stretch in your outer left hip. And if you don't feel it just yet and you want it to move deeper, you could lift your right foot off the ground, thread your left hand in between your legs, and wrap both hands around the back of the right hamstring. Once again, softening the jaw, releasing the shoulders. Keep working the left knee away from the body, opening gradually as you settle into the pose. And when you're ready, releasing that side, placing the right foot down, left foot down beside it. From here, we'll make our way up to a seated position. So you can either roll over to your side and then press your way up, or you can rock and roll along the length of the spine, holding on to the backs of the hamstrings until you come all the way up. We'll find a comfortable seated position. Choosing to sit on the floor or sit on some piece of furniture. Again, you can have your legs crossed or you can extend them out in front of you. It's up to you. Let's take the chin down towards the chest and then slowly roll the chin over towards one shoulder. Go all the way back down through center into the other side. Taking your time, finding your own rhythm. And feeling free to pause if you feel like you need a longer stretch in any one spot. If you are pausing, feeling your breath slow and steady, breathe into that area, and then keep moving when you're ready. Let's bring the head back to stillness, and we'll start to move the shoulders a little bit more, lifting shoulders up to the ears, squeezing the shoulder blades together and drawing them down the back. Using the inhale to lift up and exhale to squeeze and lower. Focusing on that space between the shoulder blades. And then we'll switch directions, still lifting up on the inhale, but on the exhale, roll the shoulders forward, spread the shoulder blades nice and wide. And bringing the shoulders back to stillness. From here, let's make our way up into tabletop. Coming onto our hands and our knees on the mat. Lining ourselves up so that our elbows are directly under our shoulders. Fingers are spreading out nice and wide. Knees are about hip distance apart underneath of the hips. Toes can be flat or they can be tucked under. And we'll move through a few rounds of cat and cow, warming up the spine as we inhale, lowering the belly, drawing shoulders back and looking ahead. And then as we exhale, rounding the spine, spreading the shoulders, looking back to the knees. Taking your time, using your inhale, dropping the belly, drawing the shoulders back, looking ahead. And your exhale to round the spine, spread the shoulders, really press the floor away and look back to the knees. Alternating back and forth between the two, making the movements bigger or smaller, depending on what suits you. And noticing what you feel all along the length of your spine and along the front of your body. You continue to move through cat and cow, or if you'd like, you can add a child's pose into this mix. If you're going to add the child's pose, take your knees a little bit wider on the mat. And from here, as we exhale, we're going to arch the spine and sit the hips back onto the heels, coming into child's pose. As we inhale, drop the elbows, draw the body forward, and then lift up into cow. Exhaling, rounding the spine, sitting the hips back and down. Inhaling, drawing the body forward and pressing up into cow. Going back and forth again between inhale and exhale. Using the inhale to still lengthen the front of the body, stretching, drawing yourself forward into cow pose. And exhale to lengthen the back of the body as we move through cat into child. Developing a rhythm that works for you. And again, noticing what you feel as you go through these movements. And the next time you come back into child's pose, allowing yourself to rest there. If you didn't have child's pose in your movement already, just take your knees a little bit wider, settle hips down towards heels, and then relax the upper body down. You can either have the elbows bent or you can extend your fingertips straight out in front of you. Wherever you are, settling your hips down towards your heels, letting the hips get heavier and heavier. Lengthening back through the tailbone and forward through the crown of the head. And notice the feeling of the back of the rib cage as you inhale and exhale. Yeah, let's release from our child's pose. We'll come back up into our tabletop. Bringing those knees back underneath of the hips once again. Elbows under shoulders, hands wherever they land. Move any things out of the way of the side of your mat so you have a little bit of space to move. And then from here, as we inhale, let's take the right hand up towards the ceiling, opening the body to the right side. As we exhale, let's bring that hand back down. We'll sweep it behind the left wrist, plant the shoulder down. We're going to keep moving though. Inhale, reach that hand up, open the body. Exhale, sweep the hand down behind the left wrist, thread the needle. As you inhale, coming all the way up. And as you exhale, coming down. Working with your breath, again, finding your own rhythm. Let's do one more. And this time as the hand comes back behind the left wrist, let's let that right shoulder rest down, let the head rest down. Allow the left arm to relax. If you want, you can extend those left fingertips up towards the top of your mat so you're lengthening the left side of your body as well. I'll pause here for a couple of slow breaths. Breathing into the space between the shoulder blades, breathing into the side body. And then we'll bring the left hand back to where it started, pressing up into our tabletop. And pause for a moment before we start the other side. Press the floor away. Notice any sensation in the body. And when you're ready, we'll start to move. Inhaling, lifting the left hand up. Exhaling, sweeping that left hand behind the right wrist, twisting. Inhaling, opening up to the left side. And exhaling to twist. Inhaling, opening. Exhaling to thread the needle. And last one, inhale, reach up nice and high, open all the way up. And then exhale, bring that left hand down. Rest the left shoulder, rest the head. Allow the right arm to relax down where it is, or walk those right fingertips out to the top of the mat. And then again, we'll breathe into the space between the shoulder blades and into the side body, all along the length of the spine. And then we'll bring the right hand back to where it started and press back up into our tabletop. Pausing once again, pressing the floor away, noticing what you feel. And from here, let's make our way into downward facing dog. Stepping your feet back behind you, lifting hips up and back. And we'll take a moment to pedal out through the feet. Bending knees, bending ankles. Finding a nice solid placement for the hands. Equal weight between both hands. Really gripping through the fingertips. And from here, let's make sure our feet are about hip distance apart. And we'll shift our weight forward into plank so our shoulders stack over top of our wrists. You can adjust the distance between your hands and your feet if you need to. And we'll come back up into downward facing dog. As we inhale, let's shift forward into plank. And as we exhale, back up into downward facing dog. One more like that. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Okay, let's bend the knees and we'll walk the feet up to the top of the mat. Coming into a forward fold. So have the knees pretty bent. We'll let the upper body hang heavy. Nod the head yes or shake the head no to release tension from the neck.
Let the arms hang wherever they do. You can hold on to opposite elbows if you want, or you can have your hands free wherever they are. And from here, let's inhale, coming to half back. We'll straighten out the legs, straighten out the spine. Press the hands into the legs and lengthen crown of the head away from tailbone. Take a nice deep breath in, and then as we exhale, let's bend the knees and fold forward. As we inhale, we'll bend the knees even deeper, sweep the hands out to the sides and come all the way up to standing, letting the palms meet up overhead, and then exhaling to draw them down to heart center. From here, let's inhale, reaching up. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. We'll inhale for half back. Exhale to fold. Plant the hands. We'll step the feet back into plank and then up into downward facing dog. Again, if you'd like, you can take a moment to bend through knees, bend through ankles. And then when you're ready, bring the legs back to stillness. We'll inhale forward to plank. Exhale back to downward dog. Inhale forward to plank. Exhale back to downward dog. And last one, inhale forward to plank. And exhale back to downward dog. Let's again walk our feet up to the top of the mat. You can take little steps or big steps, whatever works for you. Coming into our forward fold. As we inhale, let's make our way to half back. And exhale to fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Hands meet up overhead, and we'll exhale down to heart center. Pausing here for a moment, finding a mountain pose. Letting the feet be about hip distance apart or maybe a little bit closer. We'll find some nice solid grounding, equal weight between both feet, pressing down through the ball of the foot and the heel. Let's loop the shoulders up, down the back, and extend the arms out at the sides with a little bit of energy through the fingers. As we inhale, let's lift up, lengthening up through the crown of the head. And as we exhale, let's press down through both feet. With each inhale, imagine getting a little bit taller. And then with the exhale, root down. We're going to move through that sequence again. If for any reason the plank is not available to you, if you don't like it, if it bothers your wrists or anything, you don't have to do it. You can stay in downward facing dog. It's just an exercise to get the shoulders warmed up a little bit more. As we inhale, let's come all the way up. Exhale, bend the knees and fold forward. Let's inhale for half back. Exhale to fold. Let's plant the hands and step the feet back. Moving up into downward facing dog. As we inhale, coming forward into plank. Stacking shoulders over wrists. As we exhale, let's lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhaling forward to plank. Really press the floor away. And exhale back to downward facing dog. And last one, inhale forward. Exhale back. Let's walk or step to the top of the mat, coming into forward fold. We'll inhale for half back. Exhale to fold. And inhale, come all the way up. Letting the hands exhale down to heart center. Let's inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. We'll inhale for half back. Exhale to fold, plant the hands, step back into downward facing dog. From here, we'll inhale forward to plank. Exhale back. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. And one more time. It's time from our downward facing dog. Let's bend through the right knee, lift that right foot off the floor and step it up in between the hands. Setting up for a high lunge. We'll stack the right knee over the right ankle. Toes can point forwards or slightly out to the sides. Back heel stays lifted and pressing towards the back wall. We'll get a little bit lighter on our fingertips and then we'll come all the way up. Inhaling, reaching those hands all the way overhead. Softening shoulders down, spreading fingers nice and wide. As we inhale, let's reach up. And then exhale, bring the hands back down onto the ground. And we'll step the left foot forward to meet the right. Let's inhale for half back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Do the same on the other side, inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, bending the knees and fold. Let's inhale for half back. Exhale to fold, plant the hands. We'll step back into downward facing dog. Staying here or inhaling forward to plank. Exhaling back to down dog. Inhaling plank. Exhaling down dog. And inhaling plank. Exhaling down dog. Let's bend through the left knee, lifting the left foot up off the floor, and then step that left foot forward, setting up for high lunge on the other side. Again, we want the knee stacking over ankle, back leg nice and straight and strong. Come up lighter on the fingertips, and then rise all the way up. Inhaling, reaching up overhead. Really reach those fingertips nice and high. And then we'll exhale, bring the hands down all the way to the ground, and step the right foot forward to meet the left, coming into forward fold. Let's inhale for half back. Exhale to fold. And inhale, come all the way up to standing. Good, let's inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale for half back. Exhale to fold, plant the hands, step back into downward facing dog. Staying here again or inhaling forward for plank. Exhaling back down dog. Inhaling forward. Exhaling back. And last one. Remember to really press the floor away in your plank. Good. Let's again bend the right knee. We'll lift the right foot up and then step that right foot forward. This time we're going to turn those left toes onto a 45-degree angle. Step them in a little bit closer and let the heel plant down. So we're setting up for a warrior one. Your feet can be kind of in line with one another, or they can be about hip distance on the mat. Once again, we'll get a little bit lighter on the fingertips, and then we'll come all the way up, reaching those arms up overhead. Pressing down through the left heel, the outer edge of the left foot, and bending into the right knee. Let's reach up nice and high. And then we'll sweep the hands back behind the body, interlace the fingers, or take hold of opposite elbows. And then draw the knuckles or elbows down and back. And you can stay upright, or on your exhale, you can fold forward, lifting those knuckles up overhead, coming into a humble warrior. Okay, let's inhale, come all the way back up, reach those arms up overhead. Exhale, plant the hands on the mat, and step the left foot forward to meet the right, coming into forward fold. Inhale for half back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, hands down to heart center. Let's inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale for half back. Exhale to plant the hands, step back into downward facing dog. Once again, staying here, or inhaling forward for plank. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And last one. Coming all the way back into downward facing dog. Let's bend the left knee, lift the left foot, and step that left foot forward up in between the hands. Stacking knee over ankle. We'll turn the right toes towards the top right corner of the mat and plant the heel down. Again, you might want to step it a little bit closer to your left foot. And then we'll get lighter on the fingers and come all the way up, reaching those hands up overhead. Let's root down through the feet. Inhale, lift up through the hands. And then as we exhale, let's sweep the hands back behind us. Again, either taking hold of opposite hands or opposite elbows. We'll draw the knuckles or elbows down and back, opening up through the chest. Either staying here, taking a nice deep breath in, or on your exhale, fold forward. Lift those knuckles or elbows up towards the ceiling, coming into a humble warrior. Good, let's release. We'll inhale, reach those hands all the way up. Exhale, hands down to the mat. And step the right foot forward to meet the left, coming into forward fold. As we inhale, let's come to half back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Let's pause for a moment here, finding our mountain pose once again. Taking some time to check in. Finding a nice solid base with the feet. Looping the shoulders up, back, and down. Finding some energy through the hands, spreading the fingers nice and wide. As we inhale, lengthening up through the crown of the head. As we exhale, rooting down through the feet. We did a lot to warm up the shoulders and warm up the hips already this morning. We have 2 balancing poses we're going to work on. So if you feel a little bit unsteady this morning, you can feel free to come to a wall or a piece of furniture. If you feel like you need a sip of water or tea, go for it. And then when you're ready, coming back, finding a nice solid standing position. Equal weight between both feet. Feet are about hip distance. Again, you can be near a wall if you want to, touching onto a wall. And once you feel steady on both feet, start to shift our weight over into our left foot, bringing a little bit of a bend into that left knee. From here, hands on hips, we'll start to slide the right foot back behind us until we're just touching the toes on the floor. So this might be where you stay. If this feels like a good position for you, you're welcome to. Before we move any deeper, if you're moving any deeper, find a focal point for your gaze. Find something that's not moving to look at, that's in front of you, not on the floor, somewhere up on the wall, or maybe not on the ceiling either, somewhere in your height field of vision. Once you found that, again, you can stay here just lifting those toes just a little bit off the mat. Or if you wanted to move into a different variation of the pose, you can bend through the right knee and reach your right hand back for your ankle. You can either hold on to the outside of your ankle, or if you want to, you can flip your grip and hold on to the inside of your ankle if that's comfortable for you. We did do quite a bit of warming up through the shoulders, so if this is something that you wanted to try, you're welcome to it. And if it's uncomfortable for your shoulder, take the outside grip. What I mean by this, by the way, the outside grip is holding onto the outside of the ankle, and the inside grip is holding onto the inside of the ankle. Okay. So from here, you can press your right hip forward, again, looking for that little bit of stretch along the hip flexor. If you wanted to test your balance a little bit more, find that focal point, focus on it. You can extend your left arm out in front of you and then start to press your right knee straight back. Press your hand back into your, press your foot back into your hand and lean forward as much as you draw your right knee back. Taking 1 or 2 slow, deep breaths here. And then releasing, coming all the way back down. Let's take a moment to roll through wrists and roll through ankles. And then we'll come back to center. Bring hands back onto hips. Start to shift our weight over into the right foot, bringing a little bit of a bend into the right knee. And then we'll get lighter on the left foot, sliding that left foot back behind us until just the toes are touching. Again, just see your focal point. You can choose to stay here, or if you'd like, you can bend through the left knee and reach back for your left ankle. Taking the outside grip or inside grip, whatever you prefer. Finding a slow, steady, deep breath. Pressing the left hip forward. And then again, only if you want to, you can extend your right hand out in front of you and start to draw that left knee back, straight back behind you, so that the legs still stay parallel. Press the left foot back into the left hand, opening up through the left side of the chest.
Breathe in, reach up, and breathe out, lean forward. And then we'll release, coming all the way back to standing. And roll through wrists, roll through ankles to release. Okay, so that one's mainly a balancing pose. It's a stretch for the standing leg on the back and the dancer leg on the front of the hip. This one is more for the outer hips and for the shoulders. So we'll start with the arms. Let's take the left arm across the front of the body, and then we'll loop the right elbow around the left elbow. Let's bring those elbows back towards the midline, and then we'll line up the backs of the forearms together. So either the backs of the hands touch, or you can wrap your hands around so your palms touch. Once you've got that, you can stay there. If it's uncomfortable, you can go back to the first part of the stretch where the left hand is extending to the right side. If you are comfortable in the bind, you can start to drop your shoulders down, maybe lift your elbows a little bit higher. And then we'll start to shift our weight over into our left foot, bending the left knee. From here, we'll get lighter on the right toes, find your focal point, and then start to cross the right knee over top of the left knee. So your right toes might touch down on the floor on the left side of your body, or they might be floating. You can stay right where you are, or you can start to bend through the knees, lower the hips down, and come into a deeper seat. Again, your right toes might be floating, you might be touching on the floor, or you might be able to wrap them around the back of your left calf. Sinking the hips down, reaching the elbows up, breathing in and breathing out for Eagle Pose, Garandasana. One more inhale and exhale, maybe sink the lowest. And then we'll release all at once, reach up, stretch tall, and exhale. Take the hands onto the hips. Find equal weight between both feet. And then we'll prep the arms on this side, taking the right arm across the front of the body and then looping the left elbow around the right elbow. This is an option to stay here if you want to. If you'd like to bring the arms towards the midline of the body and line them up against one another, coming into a bind, you're welcome to that as well. So either the backs of hands are touching or the palms are touching. Wherever you are, soften your shoulders. Maybe lift your elbows a little bit higher if you're in the bind. Taking a couple of breaths into that space between the shoulder blades, find your focal point. Breathe slow and steady, and then start to shift weight over into the right leg, bending a little bit through the right knee, getting heavier and heavier on the right foot. Let's get a little bit lighter on the left foot, and then cross that left knee over top of the right. Starting out with left toes touching on the floor. Maybe staying with left toes touching on the floor. If you feel pretty steady where you are and you want to fold a little bit deeper, bending through those knees, sinking the hips down. Again, you can have your left foot floating, you can have it touching down on the floor, or you might wrap it around the back of your right calf. Wherever you are, gradually sinking your hips a little bit deeper. Keep that breath flowing smooth and steady, lifting the elbows, softening the shoulders. Breathing in to lengthen, breathing out to sink down. One more inhale and exhale. And then we'll release, step down, reach up. And exhale, hands down to heart center. If you did move away from the top of your mat, coming back there now. From here, let's inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. We'll inhale for half back. Exhale to full plant the hands, step back into downward facing dog. And let's lower the knees down onto the floor about mat distance apart. We'll untuck the toes. Let the big toes connect and sit the hips back towards the heels. Let's extend the arms out towards the top of the mat and then walk them over towards the left side, lengthening all along the right side of the body, anchoring down through the right hip. Breathing into that right side body. And then we'll walk the hands back through center and over towards the right side of the mat. This time anchoring through left hip and lengthening all along the left side.
Breathing into that left side body as you inhale and exhaling, sinking the hips down, softening. And let's take those hands all the way back to center. We'll walk them up towards the body. Let's bring the knees together and shift the hips off to one side. And then we'll find our resting pose for the class. So you can choose to stay upright in a seated position. You can support yourself by sitting on a cushion or on a couch if you want to. Or you can come all the way down onto your back and find Shavasana, allowing your heels to extend to the top corners of your mat, toes to rock open to the sides, arms extend out alongside the body. Wherever you are sitting or laying down, let your spine be long and tall. Take a moment to soften your shoulders down your back, letting the shoulder blades draw towards one another. And find a sense of heaviness through whatever parts of the body are touching down on the ground or some other support. Really feeling that connection between yourself and the support beneath you. Allowing your body to settle down into it. And as you start to settle in, keep a little bit of awareness with your breathing, with your heartbeat. Notice maybe they're a little bit quicker. Gradually they start to slow as you settle into this shape. Letting yourself get a little bit heavier, a little bit heavier, a little bit heavier. The breath becomes slower, smoother, more fluid. As you inhale, there's a sense of spaciousness. You fill the body up with air, also fresh energy and oxygen. And as you exhale, let that go. Find some softness in the body. If your eyes are open, you might choose to close them. Maybe relaxing your jaw, letting your tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. And scanning through the body, looking for any areas that are holding on right now, any areas that feel tight or tense. And imagine a little bit of that tension leaving the body each time you breathe out. When you breathe in, that fresh energy and oxygen comes in. When you breathe out, take a little bit of tension, a little bit of strain away. If you have been focusing on deepening or lengthening the breath intentionally, even letting that go, allowing the body a few moments here to just be, nothing that needs to be done. No need to hold on to the muscles, the ground, or support beneath you is doing that for you.
Let's start to invite a little bit of movement back into the body, gently wiggling fingers, wiggling toes. If it's available where you are, circling wrists and ankles, and turning the head from side to side. And coming back to stillness. If you are laying on your back, drawing your knees in towards your chest and rolling over onto whichever side of the body is more comfortable for you. Extending your lower arm to use as a pillow. And pausing there, allowing your body a moment to adjust. Maybe choosing to set an intention for the day ahead. And then when you feel ready, make your way up to whatever seated position you prefer. Sitting cross-legged or legs extended out in front of you, wherever and however you'd like. If you can, ground down equally through both sitting bones, so both hips are equally heavy. Lengthening up through the crown of the head and bringing hands together in front of the heart. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to guide you through this practice. From my light to yours, namaste.